Evening.
Good evening.
It is 6 p.m. We're going to call this meeting to order. If I could, Councilman Tucker, would you mind leading us in a prayer pledge of allegiance, please?
Don't mind at all, Vice Chairman. Will we all stand, please? Let us bow our heads. Lord, Father God Almighty, we thank you once again for a glorious and precious day that you've allowed us to see. We thank you for life, health, and strength. We thank you for everyone that's in this audience and on this dais and all the staff that's here and present. We thank you for our families and ask that you continue to watch over them in our absence, to give us the courage and the knowledge and understanding to make the decisions up here that we need to make for the citizens of Kershaw County to make their lives easier and better. And Lord Father, we ought to be so careful and so grateful to give you all the praise, the honor, and the glory. Now, Lord Father, it is our intent to do your will. We ask that you watch over us and carry us back to our various destinations safely. Continue to bless our men and women who protects our freedoms and liberties in our military. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Councilman Tucker.
You're welcome, sir.
If I could, before we get started, I want to read a letter or an email that Madam Chair Gwynn sent to me. She wanted me to share this with the group. First off, I want to say that I salute her service to our country. That's where she's at tonight. She's full-time call of duty. And I'm going to read this verbatim, word for word, as she wrote it. Good evening, Kershaw County. I am currently on temporary duty travel, TDY, attending military aviation training in Fort Rucker, Alabama. I hate that I am missing tonight's meeting, and I am appreciative of Vice Chairman Jones's hard work and assistance with the chair duties in my absence. I will be back and ready for the first meeting in October 10th. To my colleagues, I would like to ask for your nomination and full support of Ms. Heather Ives Dykes to the Planning and Zoning Commission tonight. I look forward to getting back to the people's business as soon as possible. Thank you and have a great meeting tonight. Very respectfully, Madam Chair Katie Gwynn. Thank you. Well, we miss you, Ms. Gwynn, and we wish you safe travels back home when you get here. Because I certainly don't want her job. All right. Let's see here. Okay, we need to have our adoption of the agenda.
Mr. Chairman, I'll make a motion that we adopt today's agenda.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
I will be abstaining from vote because I was not here at the last meeting. Folks, I wasn't feeling well. I apologize that I couldn't make the last meeting, but I was not feeling well and I had to leave and go home. But I'm $150 today. I'm wide open. All right. Is there any discussion? No discussion? So moved. We've got the adoption of the agenda.
Vote, sir.
I am. Is there a motion to adopt the agenda by Councilman, what's your name? Thomason. Then there's a second
By Cato.
by Cato. All right, all in favor?
There we go.
Thank
Starting
you.
out on a strong note.
I know. It said it was 150. Okay, we have public comments. Mr. Tucker, would you mind giving read the rules for public comments, please?
Yes, sir. Let's see here. Agenda packet here. Trying to find my rules here, there, Councilman.
Should be on the back of the, well,
Oh, I thought they were too. Sam, can you put them up there, Ryan? Can you put up the rules up there for me, please? Thank you. There we go. All right, we're going to do the short version. Public comment is an opportunity for members of the public to share information with council. It is not a time for debate or for questioning and answers from council. It is time for council to receive input. It is not a time for council's response. In short, during public comment, council will listen to public comment but not comment on public comment. Offensive and inappropriate languages or comments will not be tolerated. If a group would like to speak, can be a request to select a spokesperson, and they can represent that group for his or her comments. Public comment is a time to discuss issues. Public comment period is limited to 5 minutes maximum allowed per individual speaker. Public comments to council as an agenda item shall continue uninterrupted to be live streamed by audio and video where available until the public comments agenda item is finished and concluded. These rules may be altered. You don't need to read that. That's it.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Mr. DeBose, how many have we have signed up?
We have one public comment speaker, Mr. Tim Taylor, on KC Uplifted.
Welcome, Mr. Taylor.
Good evening. Wow.
Yes, that was good.
That loud. But since the last meetings of my presentation, KC Uplifted Boutique has exploded, it's grown, and now we need a bigger boat. We've outgrown the current location that's behind the Kershaw County Sheriff's Office in Lugoff. There's also been some concerns of our ability to reach everyone due to our location. We want everyone in the county to feel comfortable coming and getting their clothes, and some people just don't for reasons. Sheriff's Department, though, has been amazing in supporting of us and our cause. We wouldn't have been able to do this at all without them and grow without them and everything that's included. They're helping us now in our venture to find a bigger and better place located in Lugoff or Camden, since it's a central location of the county, and hopefully everybody can get to it. The end goal is to open locations in every local community so that everybody can access it. Long-term, but it's still a vision. We're hoping that there's a lot of people to help us do this too. Our main focus now is a location. Stop. Our main focus now is a location for a building for us to operate out of Camden or Lugoff as a base location. New building or just a place to put our current building. Either one would be awesome. I'm telling this to you, I'm telling this to everybody at home. We need the help. As far as moving, we've already received a sizable donation from Sheriff Lebone to the new location. We just need to find that new location. The monetary donations for moving expenses and operating expenses are also needed. And as you know, Kristen is currently fulfilling military obligations, and Maria is about to go to Korea for a year. So one won't be, I know, I felt like an idiot. Kristen's coming back in April of 2024, and I think that would make Maria somewhere late 2025 that she would be back. So we need to find a location, and our new date is the 1st of November. We'd like to get that done because that's when we think she's moving. If anybody can help, people are listening. If your company wants to help, or anybody, just normal everyday Joe, please help us. You can reach out at kcuplifted@gmail.com. But some of you up here I'll be contacting directly, just to let you know. And hopefully we can get some help and move this thing and not have to shut down. So that's it. Thank you very much. I know you can't comment, but appreciate it.
Thank you, Mr. Taylor, so much. All right, you sure can.
7:30. There's going to be a showing of the first of a series of 6. The Constitution is the solution. We need to learn our Constitution. That's this Thursday.
State again where it's going to be, because you weren't at the mic, and the people that are watching us
This
wouldn't
is
be there.
the Constitution is a solution. It's a series of 6 videos, about 40 minutes each. And it will begin this Thursday at Patriot Coffee at 7:30 p.m. We'll begin showing, and one a week thereafter.
Thank you, Mr. Webb. Okay, moving along to item number 6, public presentations. We have first Kim Gaines, Camden Clinic Director, Santee Watery Community Mental Health Center. Welcome.
Good day, Kershaw County Council, and the absence of our Madam Chair. On behalf of our Center Director, Jeff Ham, and our Center, Santee Water Mental Health, we thank you greatly for not only this opportunity, but your continued support for our dedicatory mission of supporting the recovery of those with mental illness. We are also very appreciative that you have granted us this time, as September is Suicide Prevention Month. Today, we hope to provide updates as well as to provide you info of our current work and mission and give light to the new visions to come. In 1994, I started with Department of Mental Health and must have done some things right because in 1995, they made me permanent. Celebrating an anniversary on yesterday, 29 years later, still dedicated to the same mission. In 2019, I took on the helm of Kershaw Clinic as the director and began building partnerships, making sure DMH not only had a seat at the table, but also a voice. Let me tell you some facts about our Kershaw Clinic. Kershaw Clinic is our second largest clinic across our 4 catchment areas of Sumter, Lee, and Clarendon. We provide the same array of services of our sister offices, such as individual, family, crisis care groups, medication management, and school-based services. We serve 25% of the population that makes up the clientele for Santee Wateree. Each one of our clinics at Santee Wateree have very unique qualities. Let me list a few that we have here at Kershaw. We have a dedicated staff for our Kershaw Detention Center. We have a dedicated staff also for our local community medical center that makes contact 2 times a week, with 1 day providing services to the Hispanic population. We have a dedicated staff to the point of contact for our local Food for the Soul homeless shelter 1 time a week. We also, within this county, we piloted the first Kershaw Project Home. That's for the transitional housing for mental health. We have mobile crisis for daytime and after hours. And last but not least, our newest position that started 2 years ago, we have our law enforcement embedded position. And this is to bridge the gap between DMH and law enforcement. We also have dedicated partnerships with our probate court and our awesome Judge Branham, with all things regarding court orders and all things court. Other awesome partners are Alpha Center, DJJ, DSS, Live Where Kershaw Coalition, just to name a few, all to assist in the excellence of our mission. If I can quote our Center Director, Jeff, he says, "We love to dance, so we're always looking for new dance partners, all in an effort to keep up the mission. Teamwork makes the dream work." If we are going to grow and be onward and upward, we have to change with the needs of our clients. In the future, Kershaw Clinic is looking forward to providing more intensive services to our clients to meet them where they are in the community. We are looking forward to branching out intensive team services, as well as still hopes of the much-needed crisis stabilization unit to assist with the lessened bed availability. In closing, County Council, we want you to know that we are dedicated to our mission to be the center of choice, the center of change, and the center of excellence, to operate fully in our mission to support the recovery of those with mental illness. Once again, we want you to know that we appreciate you, and we appreciate you looking out for us. Thank you so much. And I have with us our board chair, Mr. Larry Graham.
As board chair, I'd like to thank you for your continued support. personally know the nightmare.
In the mic, Mr. Graham.
Personally know the nightmare of living and coping with mental illness, but I also know of the hope of recovery and how things can get back to normal. And Santee Watery and our local clinic do all they can to help those in Kershaw County with these kind of problems. So thank you for your support.
Thank you. And let me say this, Ms. Gaines, thank you so much for all you do, and we do support you, and this county needs you. And Mr. Graham, there are no words to explain your dedication to that organization. So thank you both. Are there any comments from the council? Mr. Tucker?
Thank you, Mr. Jones. Ms. Gaines, I don't know you quite as well as your board chair, but I personally appreciate all that you guys have done throughout the years. And I know we have, as the county, have not been great supporters throughout the life of the organization being here, but we've stepped it up in the past years, and it's definitely a dire need. But with board chairs and board members like Mr. Graham, and I'm going to toot this on a little bit, is what help makes this organization do great things and see the passion and love, because he is very dedicated. He lives and eat mental health, and I've seen it year after year after year when the doors were wide open and people were flooding in, and when things calmed down a little bit, he is there every step and every moment of the way. So continue to recruit members like that, and you'll have much more success in the future. But I thank you as staff, and I also want to thank Chairman Graham and the board. Thank you.
Any other comments? Thank you so much, folks. Appreciate it. We also like to welcome Mr. Schmidt. Glad you're here. Okay, we have one other public presentation. Kirkland Community Center is placed on the agenda by Councilman Sammy Tucker.
Yes, so this is an update from where we had our summer program at the Kirkland Community Center. And today before us is Miss Reverend Millie Nelson Smith. She's here before us to give us a presentation and an update on how that program went and where we lie for the future. So would you come to the podium, please, ma'am? And I'm sorry that I am a little bit stuttering here, but I'm coming off about 14 hours of work. I don't know if I'm sleepy or hungry, but probably a combination of both.
Welcome.
Good evening. And I greet you on behalf of the Kirkland community and on behalf of our board chair, Ben Tobin, and I'm so thankful to be here for this opportunity today. I have a few people from our camp that came with me today, two of the students and also one of the staff, one of the program coordinators.
Great.
So I wanted to just share with you a little bit. We had the vision for a youth leadership boot camp, and I came and presented to the council, and you were gracious enough to fund us in that effort. The funding was a little bit at the close time of school closing, so we had to start really quickly. And so our goal was to get 25 students registered. We got 15 registered, and we had an attendance of at least 12 a day. And we started July the 5th. And so school was not closed that long anymore. We don't have a long summer. And so we took that time and we wanted to do this boot camp. And Councilman Jones, thank you for coming out, and you were at our Mayfest. And it was exciting, and that was kind of the energy that we kicked off with. And so we hit the ground running. And our plan was to give children some skills and some abilities that we're missing right now, because they are so engaged with technology and they're so engaged with all things media that we wanted to help them to remember that these things are resources and tools. They're not your life. And so we wanted kids to get something about character. And so we wanted them to feel a sense of self-worth and of motivation. And can you go back to the slide before this? Yes, that was these are pictures from the first day of the camp. And there was a lot of energy that day. The woman in the third frame at the top, Miss Jackie Neal. Miss Jackie Neal. No, she's not. She passed away a few weeks ago.
Sorry to
And
hear
she
that.
was a beloved teacher in the Kershaw County School District, but she was the first parent that registered her child for the camp. And that camp, Maya was a part of that camp. I'm not trying not to be too emotional, but Maya was a part of that camp. And according to our coordinator over there, and I might make her cry, she said that Maya really was a leader that evolved in the camp. And this is the kind of thing that we had hoped to see happen. This is the kind of thing that we wanted to know. And you never really understand why God is doing something, and you never really understand why you just driven and motivated to do something, but you keep pushing. And maybe, just maybe, Maya needed that family to be with her during those few weeks in the summer, because she'll have to live now without her mother. And she's 15 years old. And so I feel like what we did this summer was something bigger than we all will ever really comprehend and understand. And so we believe that character counts. Go to the next one. And so we wanted them to have the 6 pillars of character: trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, citizenship, fairness, and caring. And those were the pillars that they learned. And so on the day that we were talking about character and beginning that, the sheriff's deputy came riding by to check on us, because we'd asked that you do that because we're out there in the country. And he stopped in and shared with the young people about character. And we greatly appreciated that, because, you know, in these days, we don't always have young people who have a healthy understanding of law enforcement and what law enforcement offers. And so we thought that that was a blessing. We also had things that we wanted to talk about with them, to learn about living on a budget. And they actually engaged in doing that work. They had a good time. They learned how to write checks. They learned how to do things that we don't always get. And that session was entitled, and we did 2 of them, Nobody Ever Told Me About Money. And a lot of us grow up not getting that. And the folks at Palmetto Citizens, they were kind enough to come out and talk with them about money, about saving, and about how money can help you to move ahead in life, but money also is a tool. The next one, we had some great partners. Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union was one, but the other was the Alpha Center. When I sent them our schedule and what we had laid out, they were gracious enough to say, well, we can help you with this, 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 and this. And I was like, really? And so they came out and they helped us with conflict education and resolution. They helped with vision and goals. And they helped with teaching young people how to live a drug-free life. And so these are some of the things that we wanted to instill in them. And the next slide is actually the Alpha Center staff person there doing one of the sessions. Also, we wanted to teach them about faith, activity, and nutrition. Because when we're so engaged with our technology, we don't always get to move around. And so one of the things they learned was about eating healthy, about getting up and getting into movement, and about trying to stay healthy. And all of that is because you have hopes and dreams. And these are hopes and dreams that they put on the board over these weeks, that they want to learn to work hard. I want to be a basketball player. I hope to go to college. There were just a large range of what they had hopes and dreams for. There's something that says that we stop dreaming at about 5th grade. When we're kindergartners, we can dream and we think we have everything ahead of us. But by the time we get to 5th grade, we stop dreaming and we think everything in the world is negative and against us. So we need to get back to that hopes and dreams. And so here are some of the children sharing their hopes and dreams. We had them to do little short videos, and hopefully I won't be over time. It should play once you click it. Did it freeze? All of them? Okay, can you go to the next one? Because they were playing, okay, wow. We had them do the little short videos of their hopes and their dreams. And there was one child that says, and I'll let Gabby and Gabe, maybe if they are not too shy, tell us what their hopes and dreams.
Join you. If they
And there was one little guy that said he wanted to be an otolaryngologist because he loves ears.
welcome.
He loves ears. And one of the things that we learned from the camp, and how old is Ahmad? How old is Ahmad? 7, 8? Yes, he was the youngest, but we learned that we targeted grades 6 through 8, but there is a need for all age levels to be engaged. And we engaged them in a way that they could understand it for their age level. So Gabby and Gabe are how old? 13. And Gabby, can you share one of your goals with us?
Get right in the microphone. We're looking forward to hearing what you have to say.
My name is Gabrielle Alexander, and I hope to be an anime artist.
Good for you. Good for you. Next. Really? Good for y'all.
My name is Gabrielle Alexander, and I hope to be a cartoon animator.
And if you want it, you'll be it. Amen.
So in their videos, they all had like this backup plan. And if that doesn't work out, they all tagged it with that. I'm like, these kids are good. They said if that doesn't work out, they had something else that they would do. And so Miss Brenda was a large part of that this summer. And we're going to hope to continue in out of school time, which would be during fall break, and a vision for a Christmas camp that would be a couple of days before Christmas, and that they could make gifts and stuff for their families. So, Miss Brenda, would you like to say hello?
Glad to have you here, Miss Brenda.
I'm Brenda Reed. My passion is children and youth. If we could save one, that's a lot, but I want to save as many as I can. I always tell them my story as an older student. I went back to college and I have my bachelor's, my master's. Currently, I'm working on my PhD. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do with it because I'm 55 years old. So, and I have a tutoring business as well. And so I love helping the children and youth, and you just listen to them. And Maya, the one that lost her mom, we bonded. We bonded. She gave me her phone number. We would text each other. And she told me she wanted to be a veterinarian. And just to hear when her mom passed, I said, aha, that's her. I said, excuse me, y'all, but I have to say this. I said, God, that was your plan. You knew she was going to need someone because you had it all worked out. And so sometimes we don't realize the plan, but we know who the planner is. Mm-hmm. And with that being said, I am looking forward to working with the children and youth up at Kirkland, the Kirkland Community Center. And thank y'all. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you for being here. Thank each and every one of you for being here. And I tell you what I'd like to do whenever you do finish, I'd like to get you up here when some of the council members, they want to have a picture taken with y'all. You know, let me just say this, and I'll ask my colleagues if they have any comments. I came out there and visited that day, and I had a wonderful time. You can feel the love in there. You can feel the community connection in there. And I just can't tell you how much it meant to me to see that. And thank you, you adults, for what y'all are doing, what you're giving to this community, to our youth. It means a lot to a lot of us. And do you have something else you want to proceed?
Mentioned about the
And
community.
Councilman, I'll get to you. I apologize.
When you mentioned about the community, we were like, oh, this is close, we're cutting it close. But at the end of the camp, they were like, we did it. We did it.
Did.
And we're thankful for the support. And these are the folks that we really want to thank. Kershaw County Council, the Alpha Center, Palmetto Citizens Federal Credit Union, the United Way of Kershaw County, because they made sure we had meals for the children every day. Kershaw County Sheriff's Office for checking on us and making sure that we were good out there. Our guest speakers and presenters that came that had topics that they could talk about and share with our young people. Our amazing staff, Ms. Brenda, Mr. Zyreek Bradford, Ms. Lily Boykin, and Barbara Atkins. Our dedicated parents, and most of all, well, let me get to Substation 2. They helped us out too with some foods, and they gave us food and gave us extras. But most of all, it was our students that made the whole thing possible, because if it wasn't for them, there would have been no need to do any of this, and we want to thank them. And if you could all give them a hand.
Yes. Also, I would like to say that you folks are remarkable. And it's very inspiring to sit here and hear you and hear the achievements you made. Colleagues, does anybody on council have some comments? Question? Mr. Brazel?
I'd like to say this. I'd like to say that this has probably been the highlight of my day, listening to you ladies speak. Thank you so much for what you've done. And especially thank you for speaking about God and putting God in these kids' lives. So many people don't want to get out and state their faith, and I appreciate y'all doing that. That means the world to me, and I know it means the world to each and every one of you involved. I'm just really inspired by what you've had to say tonight. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Councilman Brazel.
Mr. Chairman? Go ahead.
Are you?
Go ahead. Coach Tucker.
Are you?
Thank you. Thank y'all, Reverend Smith, thank you so much. This is absolutely wonderful what you're doing for the community, children. We have families and children across our county who need a role model, who need something to look forward to and somebody to strive to be. Gabriel and Gabriella, I'd like to tell you, there's 3 important things that I've looked at in my life, and I think it's important for everybody to have. Your entire life. It doesn't end just, when you're young and when you get to teenage years, but your entire life. Belief in a higher being. The faith, a good role model, a mentor to look up to, and a goal and a dream to strive for. And if you continue to grow through your years and generations, you're going to better your community and your family forever. Thank y'all.
Well said, Councilman. Anybody else? Mr. Tucker?
Thank you. Got to follow Mr. Thomas in there. Let me just ask a couple of questions for understanding, Reverend Nelson Smith. You're saying that you're going to have a fall program for a few days for the kids coming up. You're going to do a Christmas, and then we're going to have this camp again next year.
Yes, definitely
All
next year. And we will be able to recruit earlier and hopefully get information into all of the schools so that we can get children around Kershaw County, because we have room.
And that's what I wanted to make clear, because we knew that you were going to do the camp at least 2 years and hopefully after that stay self-sufficient where you can continue as long as y'all continue to run the center. And I know this council wants to be a important part of seeing you succeed, so that there's no doubt about that. I want you to add one more thing to your character, integrity, and all. And I'm a huge Denzel Washington fan. So
You and me both.
Councilman, that's right. Councilman Thomason is giving you excellent advice on 3 things that y'all can keep in your lives as young people. But I think adults can use this too. He quotes in one of his books that I'm going to do what I have to do today, so one day I can do what I want to do. Don't forget that, because that's true in life. We do what we have to do today, so one day we can do what we want to do in life. So just keep striding, keep your head up, Keep working hard. Stay true to yourself. Stay true to God. And I'll assure you, nothing but blessings will pour down upon you. Thank y'all for all that you're doing out there, and continue to do good work.
Now, if I could, Mr. Tucker, Mr. Thomas said he'd like to get a picture, and I think it's a great idea if you guys want to
Yes,
up here.
I look like work, but we can
through.
take a picture.
Ready? Ready in? All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Hold on 1 second. Thank you. Congratulations.
Well, this could be hard to top. All right. Again, thank you, Kirkland Community Center. What a wonderful message. Okay, council members, if we can, we're moving down to the approval of minutes. And as I stated earlier, I will be abstaining from that vote, was not here. Do I have a motion to accept the minutes?
Make a motion to approve the minutes submitted by Ms. Paula. I'll
Right.
clerk the court.
Thank you. Is there,
Clerk the council, I'm sorry.
thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, raise your hand. Let the record show it's unanimous. I abstain. Okay, if we can, we're going to move to 8.
Yes.
8A, an ordinance is third reading, case 2315, an ordinance to amend Kershaw County Stormwater Management Stormwater System, SMS4. And I want to refer to legal on this first, if I may.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, Acting Chair. There are no changes from this ordinance from second reading. Just as a reminder and just a brief summary, this makes clear that Kershaw County does not have mandatory enforcement of DHEC stormwater permits outside of the MS4 district.
Will you mic a little closer, please?
It does have mandatory enforcement of DHEC permits within the MS4 that's delegated to the county. This makes it clear that the county staff does not have to enforce DHEC permits outside of the MS4. It, of course, can bring enforcement actions, but it is not mandated to, so that DHEC can enforce its own permits, essentially.
Very good. Do I have a motion to put this on the floor?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion from county council? Questions?
No discussion needed.
Thank you, Councilman Brazel. All right, all in favor? Third reading, raise your hand. Let the record show it's unanimous. All right, no other discussion was needed. All right. B, third reading, case 23-16. This is reference to RV campground stay limits. I'm going to, if I may, do I have a motion to put this on the floor?
So moved.
Okay, do I have a second?
Second.
All right, discussion. I'd like to refer to Councilman Shoemake.
Yes, I would actually like to make a motion to amend the ordinance pursuant to an amendment, but I don't see it here in my own packet, but it was in the online packet. I would like to make a motion to amend the ordinance. Specifically, that amendment would have the effect, and again, it was submitted in the agenda packet that's online. It didn't make it into the, looks like it didn't make it into the printed. Thank you. So it would be a motion to amend the ordinance that would change both the title and section 1C to remove the reference to timeframes at all, and would instead say that it allows non-permanent stays, or rather only stays that are temporary. So let me rephrase that because I messed that all up. So I would make I'm going to start over. I would make a motion to amend on third reading 3.35, specifically to amend Section A to note that no occupied recreational vehicle or trailer will be allowed to remain in the park on a permanent basis. And also Section B, that the record be maintained for 2 years. The text of that motion is in the agenda packet that's posted online.
Very good. Is there any other comments? I think we had a second, didn't we?
Second is amendment.
For the amendment.
Oh, I'm sorry, for the
yeah.
amendment. Do we have a second for the amendment?
I'll second.
Thank you, Councilman Brazel.
And if I could, Mr. Chairman.
Yes,
just to
absolutely.
Sort of explain. So at the last hearing, or at our last council meeting, we had the public hearing on this. We heard from members of the Renfro Ranch Campground. I think Mr. Reynolds is back. Also heard from the Watery RV Park folks. I have spoken to some folks at the RV Park on Highway 12, and what is basically, I think, the public hearing and everything else showed is that the RV parks in Kershaw County are doing a pretty good job of policing themselves. They understand that these things can't be occupied permanently. What that ultimately means is effectively going to be complaint-based driven. So if we start getting complaints about people living in these things and getting run down, then we may have to ratchet up our enforcement. Now, to be clear, this still gives the county the ability to enforce. They would just have to make a showing that someone was living there permanently. So again, it shifts the burden to the county to have the burden of proof. It allows the owners to police themselves without a rigid time frame. One example that someone gave me that I didn't even think about, I talked to a resident in the RV park on Highway 12, and they said there was someone there that was on a 3-year contract. And that's one that would be outside of the ordinance we were going to pass, but at the same time is still temporary. And they had a 3-year contract and then they left. And so I do think letting these folks police themselves as they've shown they can do is the right way to do business. I think we should start at the least amount of regulation we can do and then work our way up if necessary. That's all I have.
Very good. Is there any other comments? Well, I'd like to say something very quickly. Thank you, Mr. Shoemake. You know, we've come a long ways from when you first presented this, and you've put a lot of work into it. You've listened when the folks have spoken. You have listened when council members have spoken, and you came back with what I think is a wonderful, wonderful outcome. You know, when there's not a problem, why create a problem? And I quote Councilman Shoemake. He said that's what brought him to this position. We haven't had complaints. It hasn't been a problem, so why are we creating a problem? And I want to thank you for that, Mr. Shoemake. I'm very proud to be a part of this. So having said that, all in favor of the, is any other comments first? All in favor of the amendment, raise your hand. Let it show that it was unanimous. Now, going back to third reading case 2316, the RV campground issued. Do I have all in favor for that? Or is there any discussion?
As amended.
Yeah, do I have a motion for that as amended? And let me ask you this before you do that, Mr. Tucker. Is there any other comments on this one item? I know I'm a little bit out of order on that, but I just want to make sure. Because these folks, and I'm so proud of this young folks who really worked hard to put this together, and you guys who worked with them wonderfully. All right, all in favor? The record shows unanimous. Okay. C, reading case, moving along under item C, first reading of case 2317. This is rezone Lugoff Elgin High School from R15 to B2. And let's get a motion put it on the floor. Is there a motion to put it on the floor?
So moved.
All right. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. All right. Before I go to discussion, can I refer to legal? Get an update on this?
Yes. This rezoning amendment was brought about by a desire and an expressed need of the school district to have a cell tower on that site. Principally, I understand it's driven from a public safety perspective. The school district, I understand, has radios to communicate in the event of school emergencies or crisis, God forbid, but not everyone has a radio, and cell service is very spotty out there. So again, the school district has presented this as a kind of operational and safety need on site. A small parcel could not really be singled out for a rezoning for spot zoning issues. So the entirety of the property is proposed for this rezoning. The school or institutional use is an allowed use within that district as well as the existing district, so there is overlap. Again, it's not drifted too horribly far. And I understand from the school district, there also might be some reversion clauses within their property instruments that would prevent some of the perhaps more undesirable, more intense uses that are allowed in that district.
Very good.
Mr. Vice Chair,
Yes, if I may.
I think you were getting ready to do it.
That's what I was getting, yeah.
Okay, go right
I
ahead.
see we have Billy Smith, some fine folks out. Do you have anything you'd like to share? Bring up anybody you have with you, any guest?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman and council members. We thank you for your time. It was very well said by Mr. DeBose, and I appreciate him and his eloquence in stating that. But yes, since I was principal at Lugoff Elgin Middle School in 2004, we have been trying to find someone to partner with to get a tower, not necessarily on our property, but anywhere near there. Anybody that lives in the Lugoff area around there knows the Wateree, Lugoff Elementary, middle school, the high school area. Yeah, the coverage is just spotty to that would be putting it good. And it is a safety and security issue. Yes, we do have radios. Yes, we do have phones, but internet can go down and we lose our phones. And everybody does not, as stated before, everybody does not have radios. So it would be a comfort to know that we had better cell phone coverage there. We did not ask for, I know Joey, this was the best fit for what we were asking for as far as the zoning. We do not care to do anything else with that property. There's $300,000 to $400,000 worth of taxpayers' things there that I do not think even people in the future would want to go and mess with. So we just want to assure everybody of that. Where the tower is going is in between Richardson and the school. It kind of sits down low and is 195 feet. Is that correct, Mr. Yates, who is the attorney for Milestone? I appreciate him being here, which means it does not have to have the red light that some people worry about and it being a nuisance and maybe keeping them up at night. Okay. So we've tried to, and we didn't go out looking for them. They came to us. There is one provider right now on the tower that is T-Mobile, and we have space for 3 more. So they're working hard to try to get AT&T and Verizon and someone else on that tower. We have been working on this for a year. We looked at probably 10 spots to try to find the least place, the least vulnerable place for that thing to be and not encroach on our neighbors and bother them. Be glad to answer any questions.
Thank you. Would you like to introduce your guest?
Yes, this is Mr. Yates, attorney for Milestone.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, members of council. I just want to, as you can tell, if you follow Billy, you don't have to say much.
Correct.
But no, I want to thank Billy, I want to thank the school district, and I really want to thank Joey for working with us, working on a solution where we could solve the school's problems and do it in the best way for the county. These people have been incredible, and I thank them.
Thank you very much. Council members, anybody like to say something? Mr. Tucker?
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Billy, appreciate you as always, but it's good to hear that it's not going to need a red light. Of course, I have family members that live on that corner right there that would like to sleep at night as well. Hopefully it'll help them stop at that stop sign, though. They don't like that 4-way stop because they end up in his yard all the time. But I just want to say I appreciate you doing this, and I saw where the vote was unanimous coming out of planning and zoning, and also it was very compatible with our current comprehensive plan. So that makes it real easy to support. Thank you.
Any other comments? All right. All in favor? Let it show the record is unanimous. Thank you folks so much. Billy Smith, you're a legend in Lugoff, South Carolina. Thank you, both of you, for all you do. Appreciate it. All right, number 9, new business. We're going to look at a motion to nominate and appoint to the Planning Commission. There'll be 2 vacancies that we will be dealing with here. This is placed on the agenda by Russell Brazel and Councilman Brant Thomason. And I'm going to start it by saying this. Nominations and appointments to the Planning Commission, there's 2 seats. We're going to do each seat will be done separately. Guys, y'all better be listening to me so you can understand what we're doing. I mean that politely. Right, what I'd like to ask for, is there a motion? We're going to take these one at a time. Okay, there's 2 seats. Is there a motion to nominate and subsequently appoint Heather Dykes to the Planning Commission seat currently held by Kevin Sharf, and that the appointment of Heather Dykes to be on the Planning Commission be placed on the October 10th, 23 agenda for ratification under appointments as the term commences in October? Is there a motion?
Yes, sir. I'd like to make a motion to nominate and subsequently appoint Heather Dykes to the Planning Commission. The seat's currently held by Mr. Kevin Sharf, and that the appointment of Heather Dykes to the Planning Commission be placed on the October 10th agenda for ratification under appointments as the term commences in October.
Thank you. We have a motion on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Shoemaker. Is there any discussion?
I think Heather knows a lot about development, and I think she'll be a great asset for the county. So the Planning Commission obviously has a lot on its plate, and I think she'll be a fine asset to the commission. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments? I'd like to say we have a proud dad there. It was also her birthday today, and we say happy birthday to her. Okay, I'm going to call for the vote. All in favor, raise your hands. Let it be said that Councilman Cato, Thomason, Vice Chair Jones, Shoemake, and Russell Brazel voted in favor. All opposed? Let the record show that Mr. Tucker opposed. It carries. Okay, now I'm going to go to the second one. Is there a motion to nominate and subsequently appoint Ned Towell to the Planning Commission for the seat formerly held by Claude Eckenberger, if I pronounced that right, who resigned from the remainder of his term to be placed on the, and also this appointment to be placed on the October 20th, 23 agenda, October 10th, 23 agenda under new business for ratification of that appointment. Is there a motion?
Mr. Jones, I'd like to make a motion.
Thank you, Ms. Thompson makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
I'll second.
Yield.
Thank you, Danny. We got you as the second on that. Is there any discussion? Yes, you may.
I'll read my motion. I move to nominate and subsequently appoint Ned Towell to the Planning Commission seat formerly held by Mr. Claude Eichelberger, who resigned for the remainder of his term, and that appointment of Ned Towell to the Planning Commission be placed on the October 10th, 2023 agenda for ratification under appointments. This appointment is contingent on Mr. Towell's resignation from the Board of Zoning Appeals. I'm excited to have an appointment. We currently don't have an appointment for District 5 on the Planning Commission, and I'm very excited to have Ned. Ned would do a wonderful job. He is in real estate development, but he's a longtime Kershaw County resident who really cares about preserving and conserving our community, and he will do great. Mr. Jones, I'd like to thank you for your hard work on this, and Russell Brazel as well. Thank y'all.
Thank you so much. All right, we had the motion, second discussion. I would like to say too about Ned Towell, he's going to be remarkable, no question about it. We're fortunate someone like he and Heather want to serve on this planning commission. Okay, any further discussion? I call for the vote. All in favor? Oh, we already on Ned Towell. All in favor? Okay, let us show that it's unanimous, and Madam Chair is absent. Thank you, gentlemen. If we could, bear with me 1 second. Brazel, not Brazel, but Councilman Thompson messed up my paperwork.
Too small
Mr. Jones,
a prep for you.
I think we have just one more nomination.
The ATAS Commission.
Yeah, I'm getting to that. I got it right here. Okay, we're going to B. You guys pay attention. I'm going to B to nominate to the airport and the Tourism Advisory Committee, one vacancy. Appoint, we have one to Tourism Advisory Committee, one vacancy. So we need a motion to nominate for that. Is there a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to nominate Miss Vanessa Adams to the ATAX committee.
Okay, very good. Thank you. We have a motion for Vanessa Adams to the ATAX committee. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion?
This is kind of her wheelhouse. The entire industry. I think she's been in this industry for quite some time as far as tourism and that sort of thing. We had a lovely conversation, and sometimes you just get a good gut feeling about somebody, and she seemed like she'd do a great job. So I'd also like to say that we've really been blessed with the amount of applications that we've had from people in the community willing to serve. I mean, if anything, we've got a problem with just too many good people wanting to serve, and that's hard for us sometimes to choose the right individual, and we never want to let anybody down, but we do the best we can under these wonderful circumstances that we have. So I'd like to thank everybody who's currently serving and in the past, and these new appointees. I want to thank them for what they've done for the county.
Thank you, Mr. Brazel. Is there any other discussion? All right, since there's none, I call for the vote. All in favor? Let the record show it's unanimous. Okay, C. Altering and amending Appendix 2, Public Presentation Guidelines, Kershaw County Council Ordinance determining rules of order of business, placed on the agenda by Vice Chairman Jimmy Jones. Okay, I have a motion to put that on the floor.
I'll make a motion.
Okay. Councilman Thomason made the motion. Is there a second?
I'll second. I yield.
Okay, she made the second. Now for discussion.
So, Mr. Chairman, did you want to could you go through?
Absolutely. I was going to wait till we got the discussion on the floor, which that's where we're at now. Basically, if you look in your packet, you'll see that in Appendix 2, you'll see that it's marked and it's in the packet as well. I think a sheet was sitting in front of your seats when you got here. The rules may be, and it says the rules may be amended by County Council by a single vote as an agenda item. Okay, so what I've done is a public presentation is limited to no more than one per meeting. The maximum time allotted for the public presentation is 20 minutes. All right, so we now have, I think, we have 3. We're doing 3, but the way I look at it, folks, that's 20 minutes a presentation. And with public speaking and 20 minutes to a presentation, that can, we could be an hour and a half before we get into our meetings. So I thought that we just need to sort of clean this up a little bit, and that's where I'm at.
So, Mr. Chairman, just so I'm clear, are the yellow additions, all the yellow stuff?
Or changes?
Yes.
Correct, yeah, the yellow
Highlighted.
reflect the changes.
So we're at 3 now with
Yes.
our old notes?
We had 4 apply, but
Yeah.
we did 2 tonight because we asked 1. I think Ms. Gwynn put them on, and because of that, I asked him to come to the next meeting when she was here. If I may, Mr. Tucker.
Yes, sir.
A public presentation request. Let me just read the other little minor changes. And if you go down to number 4, it says from the entity, it says here, request to be on the agenda is limited to a request from the administrator or a county council member by written request. And we've always done that. That's always been the policy, that we've pretty much done it on. And then it just one little word should here, where it says individual representatives or organizations that wish to express concerns to Kershaw County Council or to comment as to public matters should present their concerns or comments during the public comment section. And then it says these rules may be amended by County Council by one single vote, as I said earlier.
Well, I have some questions on item number 2. Go back up to how many we can have per meeting, and then I'll go back to item 4.
Sure.
All right, so we're at 3. I thought 2 went real smooth tonight. If you cut it down to 1 and you have 2 people that's time sensitive that needs to present something, I think we may run into a problem. It's kind of like what we just did with the RV ordinance. Why can't we see what 2 looks like? We know 3 doesn't work, and I agree. That's an hour potentially just sitting here listening to public presentations.
Amendment.
Yeah, okay. And so that 40 minutes, which neither one took their whole 20, went relatively quick and easy, and it was good to hear both presentations. So I don't know if I'll be in support of one, but I do understand I'm not want to sit here for an hour listening to presentations and not taking care of the people's business. So that's my comment on that, and I'll wait and yield to
said,
someone
Mr.
else.
Chairman.
What about what if we did 2 at 15 minutes? I think 15 minutes, I don't think we've seen a presentation take longer than 15 minutes. And that cuts us down to 30 minutes if we're maxed out instead of an hour. It cuts the public presentation time.
If I may say, I'm sorry, Mr. President. Let me say something. I know that Danny Cato had mentioned to me 2 minutes, maybe 15 minutes, when we had talked earlier as well.
Absolutely. That's kind of what I had in mind. I didn't feel that one presentation per meeting would suffice. I felt like we at least owed them 2 presentations. And I kind of kept time of the presentations tonight, and neither one of those presentations, which were very good presentations, went over 15 minutes. So I'll be the first I'd like to make an amendment that we amend this to 2 presentations per meeting at 15 minutes each.
Is there a second for an amendment on the floor?
Second.
Russell seconds. Any discussion?
I'd like to say, if we limited it to one, which they were both good, but the second one really touched my heart. I would have hated to have missed that. So.
I agree. I can't argue with you on that one. Okay, so any other discussion on the?
I just want to make sure the amendment is clear. So we're going to 2, but 15 minutes.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor of Councilman's?
The amendment.
Cato.
The amendments, yeah. Raise your hand. Let it show that it's unanimous on the amendment. Now, let's go back and say, is there a motion on the floor to vote for the amendment, for the change with the amendment of the public presentation?
Mr. Vice Chair, can we discuss item number 4? I had some questions on that.
I apologize. You did say that, and I did run away with it. Go ahead.
That's okay. So I just want to make sure I'm clear on this. So moving forward, this will restrict us for saying in our council briefing, we have a presentation we like to put into the agenda package for the next meeting. Ms. Hannah, can you make sure that that's put in? We have to, as a council member, give written notice for presentations? Is that what we're saying here? What makes this a bright idea?
Because I suggested it.
There lies the problem.
If you want to just be honest with you. So if things are in writing, it always said if it's not in writing, it didn't happen.
Well, and I agree with you on certain things, but what I don't want to do, and you've been a great supporter of this, is restrict the agenda from council members.
No, and that is not my intention at all.
No, but that's subsequently can happen due to trying to get these things in writing to the administrator or to the clerk of court or to Madam Chair. I'm a little leery of that because we as council members have the right to list items that we think are important to our district, to our citizens on the agenda. And this right here is part of the agenda. So this is where I'm having a little bit of conflict of understanding my duties and responsibilities of representing the citizens of Kershaw County and especially our districts.
And when it says here, a presentation request to be on the agenda is limited to a request from the administrator, which is we need, and also a council member by written request. All you have to do is just write on a piece of note and hand it to her. There's no form, no public form. Just write something down and hand it to her so she's got it.
So I think, if I may.
Yes, you may.
So I kind of see it a little bit differently, Councilman Tucker, and only because I look at it from a different perspective. And I think I'm okay with this because I think it helps Miss Hannah from her management side. So in other words, if she has, she can keep a file, and so she, doesn't have to worry about keeping track of oral, people coming by orally. I don't have a problem with it as a function of letting Miss Hannah, sort of keep things streamlined.
But it is recorded. It's recorded right here in the chambers, and she's recording it. I mean, it's part of our duties and responsibilities.
Would you like to make an amendment to delete or change?
Sir?
You're welcome to make an amendment to delete.
Well, I want to have discussion and, just see how my colleagues feel, because I have had zero discussion with anybody, not even you, about these changes. And so.
Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Mm-hmm.
Ms. Hannah, when somebody asks you in a meeting like this to put something on the agenda as like a public presentation, do you write it down? So, I mean, you can make an argument that that fulfills the rule anyway. If she's going to write it down, it doesn't say the council member has to be the one writing it.
She's doing that. So, this is amazing now. We just said more bureaucrat democracy about these RV parks, but yet we're willing to tie our own hands and also make it where something that Ms. Hannah is already doing and recording, because it's recorded, is written and recorded now without any type of language in our rules. What's the problem?
Let me say this. All you have to do, I think putting in writing is good business. And all we have to do is call Hannah, tell her that you want this person on the public presentation. And she is our clerk to council full time. Unlike Mary, she was split from 2 different jobs. So if you want her to type up a letter and put it in the agenda packet that is from you, that's fine. She can do that. So it's not going to hinder any of us up here. It's just going to give, I think, just more accountability.
Mr. Chairman?
Yes.
I like kind of what Councilman Tucker has said, and I see both sides of it. Telling Ms. Hannah something in this meeting, she writes it down, and then it's in the agenda packet for minutes from the previous meeting. I would like to see us maybe do an amendment that we can see how it works the way it is. You can do it verbally, written, however you prefer, and then if there seems to be issues that Ms. Hannah, we're not being able to get her the right information, then we can revisit putting written.
See, I think I've done this all along. I've always, put it in writing and put it in the agenda packet if I put somebody on. Well, let me ask you this. This is a good discussion.
Yes, sir.
But
I think the only issue I see, can I just one little
Absolutely.
small thing? The only issue I see is that if she did get 3 or 4 requests and there was a timeline, who were the first 2 requests, I think would be who we should let present.
Absolutely.
Unless somebody decides. I think having it in writing in an email with a timestamp is better than just verbal, because that can get a lot of back and forth. So I don't mind it either way, to be honest. It doesn't affect me a whole lot. It hadn't affected me to this point. But I think an email in this day and age with a timestamp, being that we are limited to 2 per meeting, isn't a bad idea. So I kind of have to agree with Mr. Jones.
Then
Put it in writing.
We need to be rewarded electric correspondence, correct? Instead of written? Yeah, Councilman Jones, do you have your email on your phone?
It can be
written
but it can be either one.
Yeah. Okay, but you got to timestamp the written paper?
You turn it into Mrs. Hannah. Turn it into her.
I'm just,
she keeps the record.
Apples and oranges.
Right.
I'd just like to see us kind of continue with not doing it.
Okay, and that's and listen,
Mr. Vice Chair.
What?
Can I offer an amendment? Well, wow.
Go ahead.
I would like to offer an amendment that we delete the changes in item 4.
To what?
5.
The written request part?
Right,
or
the written request part. Everything that's highlighted that was not in there prior to. And item 4. I don't have a problem with item 5, but line item 4.
You're making that in form of amendment?
Yes, sir.
Okay, that's your motion?
Yes, sir.
For amendment. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay, all in favor, raise your hand. Let the record show that Councilman Thomason, Tucker voted for it. Brazel voted for it, in favor. All those opposed?
I don't think I understood exactly.
Anyway, it just got,
Yep.
it didn't pass. It didn't pass. So anyway, now, is there amendment on the floor for the 2 meetings, 15 minutes?
I think we already approved that
already
amendment.
We voted on that.
Your original motion.
Okay, then
Let's
y'all
just
quit.
change that and leave the rest alone.
You want to restate that just for the record? which we passed was,
It's Councilman Cato's.
It was Cato's, which was
Gotcha.
2 presentations per meeting with a time limit of 15 minutes per presentation. And that passed.
yes, now we're showing off. So now we're going back to the original motion. All in favor? Let the record show that it is Councilman Brazel, Shoemake, Thomason, and Cato, and Jones in favor. And you're in favor?
No.
You're against, and all against? Mr. Tucker, thank you, guys. All right. It passes with the amendment on a 5-1. Okay, all right, guys, hold on a second. Okay, let me just say this on old business. We've already handled the Planning Commission. We already handled the Tourism Advisory. So we have the Finance Committee's options for Sheriff's Office budget for council's vote and consideration placed on the agenda by Councilman Shoemake. But I think Councilman Shoemake asked me to recognize the Chairman of the Finance Committee, Mr. Tucker. You have the floor, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. I appreciate
You
it.
want to let's get a motion in a second.
Yes, sir. I'm going to give you one.
Okay.
Is there a motion to, well, we don't have a motion. We've got options. So,
What I was thinking, if it's all right,
If I could, why don't we do this? Let's take a motion in a second, put it all on the table, and we discuss it.
okay, so
Is there a
we'll make a motion to fund the sheriff's request for additional funding for his deputies. We'll make it very generic like that because there's a lot of discussion and we can amend it.
Absolutely. A second.
Okay?
Is there a second, please?
second.
Okay. Any
All right,
discussion? Any discussion? Mr.
Well,
Tucker?
with that, I'm gonna yield to Mr. Shoemate on options 1 through 4 to make sure that everybody's clear on the thought and what all went into these recommendations.
So the finance committees had multiple meetings with the sheriff's office. They obviously were all public meetings. The chairwoman attended, I think, one of them. Members of the public attended at least one of them. And what we came out of it with from the finance committee's perspective is to set the stage, what the sheriff was looking to do is see if there was a way that he could bring some raises in for his people. The finance committee took a pretty resolute approach, along with the county administrator, that we not reopen the budget, nor do we do anything that isn't budget neutral. And so what the finance committee did is work with the sheriff's office and Tyler, who works on our budget, who did fantastic work, as well as the county administrator and the sheriff's folks, and came together to come up with some budget neutral options for affecting these raises. Now, and I'll just go through these very briefly. And again, I can't stress this enough, these are all budget neutral, so none of this requires an increase in the budget. And it keeps the sheriff's budget the same, it only changes stuff within his budget. So option 1 would be to give a $3,000 raise, which would include the previously awarded cost of living increases, with an additional bonus of up to $2,000 subject to available funds within the sheriff's office at the end of the year. So to be clear with option 1 is, it would take a $3,000 raise. The bonuses would exist if grant funding comes back that is unspent. So this is going to be up to the county administrator to look at and ensure that the funds are available. Obviously, if it gets toward the end of the year, the sheriff's budget is spent, then those monies won't be there. The way this raise is financed is there are 3 open positions in the sheriff's office, and the sheriff has made the command decision that it would be more advantageous for his department to be able to pay his people more and make sure he gets quality people. And basically freeze those positions. And by freezing those positions, what that effectively means is those positions really won't come back unless this council votes to increase the sheriff's budget.
That was the key part I wanted to hear.
Right, and so that's option 1. The other options sort of flow from it. Option 2 is only doing the $3,000 raise, which includes the COLA. Option 3 would be to only do a bonus at the end of the year. Again, we won't know what that number is. It could be 0. It could be 2,000, but it would be a bonus up to 2,000, depending on grant refunds received by the sheriff's department. And then option 4, of course, is this council could take no action and just simply revisit the sheriff's office budget next year. So those are the options from the finance committee.
If I could, Sheriff, would you mind coming up? You did a good job. Listen, can you tell us out of the three options, which one you prefer?
Option one, without a doubt.
Sorry, Mr. Chadwick, one thing that the Finance Chairman Committee wanted me to note, options 1 and 2 involve giving up the positions. I just wanted to be clear. It's not, both of those involve the same thing. I'm sorry.
Thank you. Thank you. That was well said by both of you gentlemen. I appreciate it. If I may, Sheriff, excuse me. Of course, you're coming up your own free will, saying that you will stop those positions, not fill those positions, knowing that they're going to be frozen, and it would have to be a vote of this county council to reopen those positions at a future time, correct?
Yes, yes. I mean, I feel retention is more important than recruiting. Right now, law enforcement everywhere is having problems with recruiting, and salary needs to be competitive to keep what we've got. More concerned about keeping what I got than growing it this time here. We got to, we got to do that damage control. This is the way within our budget that I feel we can do it. I think it's a sound decision. I think it's going to keep our salary where it needs to be and where we can compete with other agencies around us with getting good qualified deputies. Quality is more important than quantity.
Very good. Is there any questions for the sheriff?
Sheriff, do you feel like you have enough deputies with this reduction by 3?
Yeah. We're not going to be able to keep less than that with our current salary. Recruiting's really down everywhere. It's not just here, it's everywhere. And the state's got more money than we got here in the county, and the state's gone up on salary a good bit to where it's just almost out of reach for us. This is going to keep our head above the water and allow us to hopefully keep the good people we've got. We've got a lot of good deputies. We've got probably the best, most diverse department we've ever had at the sheriff's office, and I don't want to lose what we got.
We certainly appreciate what you and all the deputies do and the rest of the staff. And as I told you, I think this morning, if we can't support you, who can we support? Thank you.
Thank you.
And Sheriff, one point I'd like to make too is the way funding works for your deputies, and correct me if I'm wrong, is the county funds the vast majority of your deputies, but you've actually talked to, I believe it's Bethune and the state, to ensure that they will be able to match the raise with the deputies that they fund through their resources. Is that
As
correct?
well as the school district. Everybody's on board and they're willing to match their part. We're just picking up the difference that the county pays for.
Yeah. Mr. Chairman?
Go right ahead.
Sheriff, I know that we talked about this in our finance committee meeting, but I think it'd be good for others to hear. As far as Kershaw County is related and our deputies, where's our salaries compared to the surrounding counties?
We're, that changes almost daily, but at the time we done the study, we were like, I think it was only one that was the same as us. Everybody else was above us. All the sheriff's offices around. The state was about $12,000 above us starting out.
Yeah, the state right now request is what, or $58,000 roundabout?
55.
Yep. And for this next budget year cycle, you don't anticipate having to come back and ask for those 3 positions to be reopened, correct?
Oh yeah, we're definitely going to ask for more next year. I mean, I think we need to grow with our county. It's not going to be one of those things where, we can. The money's needed. Law enforcement, the cost of law enforcement has gone up a lot over the past 5 years, and we can, you're going to get what you pay for. Get what we invest in the agency, and it is what it is. I wish I had a better answer, but we're not a revenue generating department, so I can't offer answers as to how we're going to get the money. But as we grow, the need is going to grow for more deputies in the future.
Mm-hmm. The only, having to come back and then refund those 3 positions next year is one of my only concerns. I've had, a few calls today. I think law enforcement is very important and we need an increase in salary, and I'm supportive of this, strictly because this is not a budget increase. This is doing away. And the next year we're going to have to look at some different options. And because those 3 positions, we're continuing to grow. But we got to be cognizant of the taxpayer dollar that we approve for, an elected official countywide's department.
And I think too, Councilman Thomas, and something that we talked about, I know with Councilman Tucker and the sheriff in the finance committee meeting is, the county administrators made us aware that due to various issues that next year may be a a lean year absent some kind of millage increase, which is a totally separate issue. So one thing we did talk about, and I know the sheriff would recall this, is certainly you have to come and ask, you've got to fight for your department. But I think you also understand that if we have a lean year, this option means that you could potentially have to go next budget year without those three positions. And your decision was that's still better to do what we're doing now. It's still worth it, I guess.
Absolutely, yeah.
Mr. Tucker.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Sheriff, you know where I stand. You know I love you like a brother, but I put it out there just like a brother. A brother can tell a brother exactly how he feels and what he thinks. I am not in favor of giving up those three positions because when Little Granny's house or Bubba Sue's business gets broken into and the public, not you, but the public sees it as lack of manpower, council's going to get blamed for cutting those three positions. I'm not willing to take that risk.
On the other side too, if we don't have the salary to fill the positions we got, we're going to be understaffed also. It's a fine balance that we're trying to find here, and and as a brother, we're not going to always agree on things. This is one of those things we're not going to agree on, and it all comes down to is who's responsible for running the sheriff's office and what's in the best interest of public safety, and that's this guy over here.
I completely understand that, and we're responsible to the whole county as a totality for the finance. That's over here. So with that being said, option 3, which I have no problem with, which would be your grant money that's coming back to you, which I would do for any department because that money was solely allocated into your department to give bonuses once we figure out what those numbers are. And it could be up to, I think we figured $173,000, which would be about $25,000 or $3,000 per deputy that we could fund once we figure out exactly how much is coming back from your body cams and your car cameras, I think, or body armor. Now, I don't have my notes in front of me. And so I'm just stating my position because I have had some of those same phone calls Councilman Thomason has had in reference to other department and other elected officials that get elected countywide as well, who are fighting for their people. And what I don't want to do is have an unfair advantage of starting something that at least I haven't ever been a part of, and that's doing things outside of the budget and cutting positions once the budget is set. Now, that's nothing to do with what my colleagues have to say. I'm just stating my position, and I haven't changed since we met in the finance meeting. And I told you I will look, consider, and I have been. And with everything that's been presented to me thus far, my best option that I see is option 3.
If I may, Mr. Tucker.
Yes, sir.
Just very quickly. I look at it a little bit different. I'm going to support what the sheriff says he wants tonight because the three positions will be frozen. They cannot be revitalized unless it comes back before this county council. If he says he can live without the 3 deputies, he's the sheriff, he's elected to that. I will say this, and I think the finance committee's done a great job, and I also, sheriff, think you've done a great job by going to the finance committee. I don't think you had to go to the finance committee. Actually, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm not wrong, but you correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. DeBose. You know, a sheriff is a different elected official than the other elected officials by, I think, state law. Am I correct? That he has authorities or that he can do where his budget's concerned. We're mandated to give him a budget, but we can't take that money back. But we can't really tell him how to spend that budget if he so wished to go against us on that.
It's perhaps slightly more nuanced than that, but that's probably a fair generalized kind of umbrella statement about the sheriff's independence. Again, there are a lot of attorney general opinions on it, but yeah, that's probably a fair generalized statement.
But there was an attorney general opinions on it about that sheriffs do have the power. We're mandated to give them a certain amount of money. We give them money, but we don't have to give them more money, but we can't take money from them, and we can't tell him how to organize his department. He really, in my opinion, did not have to even come before the finance committee, but he did. Am I correct or not?
You cannot defund a sheriff if it will impact the discharge of their constitutionally mandated duties, yeah.
And he has the authority to utilize that money pretty much any way he wants, correct? Who's going to stop him?
Mr. Jones,
Just quickly, I can't get an answer on that. Mr. Brazel.
I'd like to state from a business point of view, I've at times had to work less people and pay them more to get more production through what I do for a living at our molding plant. I kind of see what the need is here. And I can't say that I disagree. And I'll also say this, I can't say that I know how to run your department. So if that's what you choose to do, I can support it. You may not get those positions back next year, as Councilman Shoemate stated, but I can totally see having a good, happy, encouraged staff working harder than a staff that feels like they're underpaid and underappreciated. So you have my support 100% for option one.
Vice Chair, Mr. Vice Chair.
Go ahead. Go ahead, Mr. Cato.
Sheriff, these positions, 3 positions you're willing to give up, what are those 3 positions?
Well, initially, it's going to be 2 patrol and then 1 class 3 position that we have. That could fluctuate as the need goes on and as there possibly could.
Would that be that litter position?
Yes. And it could be as we go on, position could be replaced as we find money through other moves we make within the department. So we don't know that we're not going to be able to replace, maybe one of the positions before the next budget year comes up.
Well, I'll say this, as everybody knows my history, so I don't have to go through that. And I worked at the sheriff's office for 15 years. I hate to see us give up any position at the sheriff's office because you and I both know what it's like to work the road with just 3 deputies. And I know that's tough, but I do also understand today's climate in law enforcement and the job they do. A lot of times they're grossly underpaid. And I understand that. So I have mixed emotions. I will say this, because I believe that you're accepting the responsibility by saying here tonight that to the public that you're willing to give up these positions, and you're just kind of getting, I guess, an okay from the council, not an okay, but maybe a good graces type thing from the council. I do understand where you're coming from, and I'll support it tonight. But I want to stress too that, as the Finance Committee has said, I mean, this may be 3 positions you don't get back next year. So I hope it works out.
Mr. Shoemake.
Yeah, I just want to say two or three things pretty briefly. One, and I don't really want to get into the big legal debate, but I do think that there is some pretty good authority for the idea that for these types of budgetary things outside of the budget cycle, absent a true constitutional imperative, that it does have to go through the county council. But I mean, we're doing that, so that's kind of moot. I'm going to support option 1, Sheriff. You and I have talked about this. I mean, I kind of agree with what Councilman Cato said, which is it's your job to run the department. Regardless of what I might do, I'm not saying I would do different. It's not my job to impose that will. And that just isn't with you. I believe that any of our department heads or elected officials, as long as they're within the budget that is set, if they have a particular way they want to spend that money, I think we have department heads for a reason, and ours isn't to necessarily second guess. So I am going to support option 1 tonight for the reasons stated by several folks here tonight.
Thank you. Mr. Tucker, do you have something?
Yes. So Councilman Shoemate has already stated what I wanted to state about our financial responsibilities as council of funding your budget and everybody else's budget, as far as you just don't have free will to just go do what you want to do. Certain things has to come before council. But the other thing I want to state to my colleagues right now on record, I want you to be this open-minded when the administrator comes to you on election year 2024, when it's time to raise the millage to pay for these things. Because he's already told you he's going to come back for his positions, and I don't blame him. If I was sitting in his shoes, I'll do it too. Because if he doesn't, then we definitely ain't going to volunteer and do it. So, let me finish. So what we do tonight and what we vote on tonight and what we decide to do will totally be up to the majority. But for those reasons, and the other reasons I've stated, I can only sponsor or support option 3 tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Go ahead, Mr.
Yeah,
Chairman.
just one last brief thing, and I'm sorry, I did want to say.
And if I could, I'm going to call the question that we take a vote after this, if everybody's.
Well, I guess I'll make a motion to amend. Since
You got to do that
yeah,
first.
so
Yeah.
I'll make a comment. I'll make a motion. I just want to say on behalf of, I'm sure I speak for Councilman Tomlinson, that, the Finance Committee appreciates Councilman Tucker's leadership. And I think what you see here tonight, I think, is a really good example of why the Finance Committee works. We had some discussion about it a couple meetings ago about the process, but the process worked. The sheriff, as a department head, reached out and said, hey, I want the Finance Committee to look at this. We met. We had disagreements in the room.
Yes.
We came to this council, rather than us taking votes in Finance Committee and trying to, we took, so here are the options. We've laid them out here. We've done the research so the council can make their decision. Obviously, we don't always agree, but I think this is a perfect example of why the Finance Committee is helpful. So we don't have to spend 6 hours hashing out these details with the budget guy in the room. We did that on the back end.
Yes.
And so with that, I would like to move to amend the motion on the floor to vote that we specifically authorize option 1 as laid out in the Finance Committee budget raise options, which is included in the agenda packet, which would specifically give a $3,000 raise, which includes previously awarded COLA, up to a $2,000 bonus subject to available funds at the county administrator's discretion.
Okay, there's an amendment on the floor. Is there a second?
I'll second.
Second. All in favor of the amendment on the floor, raise your hand. Let it show that Councilman Russell Brazel, Councilman Derek Shoemake, Danny Cato, and Brent Thompson, and Jimmy Jones vote in favor. All those vote against. Let the record show that Councilman Sammy Tucker votes against.
Mr. Vice Chair.
Yes.
I just want one bit of clarity on number 1.
Sure.
So on the bonus feasibility, when will we know about that, whether it's a do or don't? Will that be brought back before council?
October, we usually find out about the grants.
Okay. But I'm asking the administrator, you'll be bringing that back, not for approval, but for an update to see if it's something doable, because it does state in there, if available.
Yes, sir. It struck me that this gave me the opportunity, but if that's your request, then I will absolutely bring it back and let you know the amounts.
Yeah, we don't need a vote or anything of approval, but I would like to know the amount that was available from the grant.
Yes, sir.
And could I add, maybe we could look at, and Sheriff, maybe we could look at looking out for the ones that's been here the longest, as far as these, not everybody get across the board the same bonus. If if you hadn't been here a year, you might not get anything, but somebody after a year maybe get a smaller amount, and then after 5 years, you get a larger amount. Just a suggestion.
Let me say this. I like all the suggestions, but I would probably prefer we do that outside these chambers so we can kind of move along, folks. I respect everybody's time, though, and want to make sure you have your time to speak. All right. Is there a motion to accept the motion on the floor as amended?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Okay, I thought y'all had already approved it.
Yeah, but not as amended.
Okay.
I don't think we did it as amended. Okay. Okay, so we have a motion and a second. Any discussion on that? All in favor, raise your hand. All opposed? Okay, let the record show that Cato, Thompson, Shoemake, Brazel, Jimmy Jones voted in favor of the sheriff's request, and Councilman Tucker voted against. You've been the vice chair so much, it's hard to get it out of my head. All right, so the motion carries, Sheriff. You got what you asked for.
I want to thank everybody but Mr. Tucker. I still love you, that's brother.
It's okay. I'll make sure I tell my mom you didn't thank me.
Let's move along, guys. So
Mr. Jones,
yes,
just one question for legal.
Sure.
We did have these motions to nominate for the appointments under old business as well. Do we need to have another vote to
I think they've been
clarify anything? Or are we okay?
Yeah, they've been addressed.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good question, Mr. Brazel. Thank you for double checking on that. All right. Council briefing. Start with Mr. Brazel.
I've got a few things tonight I'd like to talk about. Mr. Robinson, Bill Robinson, there he is. Hey, that's my friend. Listen, I want to tell you about the good things he's doing over in the Knights Hill community at Knights Hill Park. He's taken a leadership role in this community. They've cleaned up and fixed a basketball court, bleachers, new lines, I think, on the court. Done a lot of work. He's a leader in his community. They're working on a walking trail. They're having a 3-on-3 basketball tournament this weekend. The Knights Hill community is a historic community and a wonderful community. And I just wanted to commend him for everything he's done for his community. And I hope that the reporters are writing this down because this is very important. Very important. Thank you. I'd also like to say to everyone who serves with me and that serves Kershaw County, whether you're an employee, whether you work for the Sheriff's Department, whether you're a judge, whether you work in Parks and Rec, we thank you, we appreciate you. We think about all of your pay. Everyone in this current climate is struggling, and we understand that, and we're doing the best we can with what we have. Precious tax dollars. It's difficult to keep things consistent and fair, but I think everybody on this dais is doing the best they can to address every department's needs, and we care about every department, and we also care very much about the taxpayer. So with that being said, I just wanted to say a big thank you to everyone who serves, current and past. And last but not least, I'd like to tell my beautiful wife, happy birthday.
I was going to get there too.
Thank you. That concludes my report.
I think you should sing.
Thank you, Mr. Brazel. Mr. Tucker.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Chair. Not sure, I think all of you probably got your invite in your council box for the MAD Festival. And I see our lovely director, Miss Dolly, out there from the Fine Arts Center. These brochures, and I think the administrator is going to speak a little bit more on it, so I'm going to be very brief, are in the back if you care to pick up one. But it is a 9-day festival celebrating music, arts, and drama and dance with events across Camden and Kershaw County. A historical community known for its culture and hospitality, Kershaw County is the perfect place for the MAD Festival to call home. This year's schedule includes an incredible range of gospel, chamber, and popular music, as well as visual arts, theater, and more. It also includes numerous partnerships, the City of Camden, Downtown Cultural District, Bethune Baptist Church, Elgin Library, Grace Episcopal Church, Littleton Street United Methodist Church, and Preservation, South Carolina. And I would like, if you guys' schedules will allow and your families, that you pick up a brochure and try to attend at least a night or two to support the Arts Center here in Kershaw County and Miss Dolly, because she does a wonderful job here. And he's really done a lot of good work, from fundraising money to do renovations down there to adding new programs and doing different things. And I think most of us who's been here for a while is used to the Blues Festival this time of the year. Well, this is kind of taking that place. And so let's go out and show our support and our commitment to our nonprofit organizations. That concludes my report, Mr. Vice Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Tucker. Mr. Shoemake.
Yes, Mr. Chair. First off, I apologize. I was a little bit late. I had something blow up at work, but I got here as soon as I could. So do apologize. I just want a couple of things. First, I want to thank Danny Templar and Gerald Blanchard. Over the last really couple of months, but particularly the last couple of weeks, I've had a number of issues that have come up in my district. There's been some issues with sort of some sewer offloading smell, and there's some neighborhood that's under development. Mr. Blanchard went out with me to one of these neighborhoods, gave the gentleman in the neighborhood his cell phone, and has been responding pretty regularly. So I just wanted to thank you guys for that, because that's, it's huge. And on that front, Mr. Templar, when you do your council brief, 2 questions I'd gotten were maybe an update on the COG, where we are with that, with the COG movement, whatever update you have, or when we might have an update. And then the ladies from Blanketing Families, we had talked about maybe getting them some masks. And you don't have to speak to this, but just as a reminder, if we could get that. So again, I just want to thank the staff, and I appreciate what Councilman Brazel said. It is tough with balancing these funds, but I do think when you run a department, it's important that we let you guys and ladies run the departments the way you need to. And I want to thank everybody up here. We've had a lot of big issues come up over the last couple of meetings, and even where we haven't agreed, we've handled them. We've been able to handle them. We've been able to generally reach some sort of compromise. So I'm very proud to be a member of this body. I'm very proud to serve with all of you guys and Chairwoman Gwynn. So thank you.
Thank you so much, Councilman Schumake.
Mr. Chairman,
Thompson.
thank you. As always, thank you so much to staff for your time, effort, and all you do. Y'all are lifesavers, and really appreciate everything. I really enjoyed the two presentations tonight. Man, they were both incredible. You know, mental health is a absolutely huge issue, and it's continuing to grow nationwide. I have some personal friends who have greatly struggled with mental health, and it's wonderful to see people in the community trying to be a benefit and impact people's lives. That is very, very important because you never know, lives can change in just a minute. Also, the Kirkland Community Center, that is incredible what they do. We need more people like that, more organizations that can take children and be that role model or mentor. Some old events and then future events. I don't know if y'all made it out to Outlaws Rodeo, September 15th, the weekend, but there was a huge turnout. The rodeo cowboys and cowgirls were incredible. I took my family out there and we got good food and got to watch the rodeo. It was a lot of fun. And then coming up on November 12th, the Watery Cup Annual Polo Club is doing a polo match hosted with Aiken County. So Aiken County Polo Association's coming to Kershaw County. And we're doing a polo match for the first time since I can remember, I think since we were little, on the polo field right there on Broad Street. We'd love to have y'all come out. It's going to be wonderful. I'm going to bring my children out there as well. That is all I have.
Thank you.
Chairman, thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much. Next, Mr. Cato.
Well, I want to thank my colleagues for tonight. This has been a very enjoyable meeting. I think we've got a lot accomplished. I want to thank Mr. Taylor. I appreciate everything that y'all do with your organization. I really appreciate that. That means a lot to Kershaw County, and I know you're helping a lot of people. I also want to tell Miss Dolly also thank you. I appreciate you reaching out to the outer parts of Kershaw County, and that really means a lot to the people outside of the downtown district. So I really appreciate you doing that. I would like to mention a few things that's going to be happening here in the near future. One is a North Central volleyball team always offers or sets up a Dig Pink night at North Central. This is in reference to breast cancer awareness, and it should be on October the 5th this year. And I think the varsity plays at 6 o'clock that night. So I would invite you to come out and support the Lady Knights, and also support this very important undertaking with breast cancer awareness. On another note, on October the 2nd, we're having a public meeting at the Mount Pisgah Resource Center. This will be with the center leadership up there. It's open to the public. They want the public to come out. And it's going to also be with the leadership Kershaw County. And they're going to be discussing some murals that's going to be painted up at the old school. Try and dress it up a little bit. So I invite anybody that would like to participate in that to come out on Monday, October the 2nd. And I want to thank the Kirkland Community Center for the presentation tonight and mental health. These community centers are a great asset to Kershaw County, and they're very valuable to some of these communities. And I really appreciate the work all these people are doing to try and keep these centers going. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Cato. I have just a couple of things I want to say before we move on. You know, Ms. Dolly, it's good to see you here. You're always involved and welcome. I want to say something about Mr. Schumake and Mr. Brazel for a quick second here. I was really impressed with the way you handled the RV camps. I thought you showed great strength and leadership on that. And you looked at a situation and you redid it to fit for everybody involved. And also when it comes to planning and zoning, I'm going to say that Mr. Brazel and Mr. Schumake have just personally spearheaded trying to get certain planning and zoning or zoning ordinances in line that would benefit the people more, maybe slow down some of the crazy housing growth that's going on, not just in Kershaw County. I actually looked up where Kershaw County stood in the housing growth. I think we were not even top 10 of fastest growing. I mean, in other words, what I'm saying, housing is going on everywhere. It's not just us. But you guys have showed great leadership in presenting some amendments to the ordinances that will benefit this community and the citizens to keep things under control, and I really appreciate that. And I will say something else, and I have to say this because, I have been a starch fighter when it comes to creating taxes and creating new fees on folks. And I'm going to tell you, I did some research because we get focused on not agreeing on one thing. Council President, I want to thank you because, you have voted against any tax increase, millage increase, any fee increase, and you said that's what you're going to do, and you did that. Of course, we disagreed on the hotel, we disagreed on the ball field, but that's okay. And Mr. Shoemaker, you're always available. Always available. I don't know how you do it with being a full-time attorney as well, too. And to all my colleagues on council, I literally enjoy working with this county council. I don't agree with them all the time. But I'll tell you this right now, they have shown me respect for the first time in 17 years. I've had a county council that respected me and didn't try to insult, didn't try to disrespect. So I want to thank you guys. We've disagreed, but we've kept it very professional, and I have thoroughly enjoyed working with you. I don't agree with you on everything now, but that's okay. And I thought those things were very important to mention. And this morning, the veterans had a breakfast at the Pine Grove Baptist Church, and they saluted Danny Branham, who had passed away, and Roy Brazel, Russell's dad, actually got up and spoke on his behalf. And it was very moving, and it was very rewarding, and I just want to let your dad know we appreciate that. And I'm not done, just a couple more things real quickly. I want to say happy birthday to Casey Brazel. And she got a song sang to her this morning by the sheriff who called her up. Also, I'd like to say happy birthday to Heather Dykes. And congratulations for her appointment to the commission, as well as Ned Towell, his appointment. I think they're going to bring a lot of good stuff to our committee. And, planning and zoning is right now, Joey needs some help. He needs some input and people who get involved, and I think you're going to find that you got those folks coming on board here. And I want to say one thing about the Finance Committee. I think you guys have done a great job on the Finance Committee. I think it's done what we needed it to do. It's still functioning as it needed to be. I'm the one that had a strong, I think along with Councilman Tucker, had a strong voice in doing away with the Finance Committee when I first came on County Council. But bottom line is, he stuck with me. We represented it when you guys came on board, and y'all did it. I appreciate it, and it's working very, very well. Also, to Madam Chair, you need to get on back. We appreciate your hard work, your dedication to this county, but we do miss you here, and you do a great job, and you have been missed. Not done yet. One quick thing. One thing I like about sitting here temporarily is nobody can tell me to shut up. As the chair, nobody can tell me I got to quit speaking. I don't have to ask permission to
Give
speak.
me that gavel down there.
Anyway, I want to say this about the sheriff's budget. Listen, he said this is what he wanted. He runs the sheriff's department, not me. I'm not an expert, he is. But I'll tell you this right now. If any department head, especially the elected department that comes before us, you know your budget better than us. And if you wanted to redo your budget, I think this Finance Committee would be very open to listen to you if it was going to be revenue neutral, as the sheriff did. We're not encouraging that, but bottom line is you are the experts, not us, of that. And having said that, I need y'all to listen.
Yes, sir. We would like the rest of the first of the year like you.
I have no further comments, so I'm going to turn it over to the county administrator. You've been messing with papers over here, too. The county administrator for his administrative briefing.
Thank you, Mr. Jones, member of council. I just have some updates for you. You've got 3 items up there at your place as it relates to the comp plan. This is still an ongoing piece. There's a memorandum up there packed full of information provided by our partners at House Seal Levine, who has been heading up this whole process. There's also the main memo up there I'd like to draw your attention to is the reminder of the Joint County Council and Planning Commission meeting next Tuesday, October 3rd at 5:30. That's going to be held out at the Economic Development Training Center out there. We'll have appropriate signage to get you all down there. Also, that document has been posted for public review on the project website. And if you go to the Planning and Zoning Department's website, you'll find the link there. A community visioning session next Tuesday, October 3rd at 7:00 p.m. So these will be smaller breakout groups on mapping exercises and things like that. This is going to be a great opportunity for the community to have a say in this whole process. There's also going to be a business workshop Wednesday, October 4th at 8 a.m. Again, same concept with business owners having the ability to have their input into this process. All of this is playing into the ZLDR rewrite process that will ramp up in January 2024. Once the growth vision, goals, and policies from the comp plan have been drafted, this is going to be probably a 10 to 12 month process on the ZLDR rewrite. It's some pretty heavy lifting. But on the rec side, this October will be kind of busy. We have the Touch a Truck, October 7th. It's going to be out there at the Wateree River Veterans Park from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. And then we're going to have on Saturday, October 28th, we'll have the Halloween Jack-O-Lantern Jamboree from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m., again, out at the Wateree River Veterans Park. Also, both of those events will have tents dedicated to the rec study input from citizens as well as the boat ramp input opportunities there. On the boat ramp, we're also going to have out at Patriots Landing. We have 2 more sessions out there outside of those 2 dates I just gave you, October 23rd and October 30th from 9 to 11 a.m. Those are Saturdays. So just trying to get more public input to deliver an amenity that people are going to use and enjoy. So that's all I have.
Thank you, Mr. Temple.
The COG.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yep. COG, we've been busy with the COG and other items. I will get you an update on that. I don't want to hazard any kind of information there.
Fine. Could you email it to me and copy Mayor Emmons? She's the one who asked me about it.
Yes, absolutely.
She just wants an update on where.
Good question she made. Any other questions for the administrator?
One thing regarding the boat ramp. As far as a timeline, is that something we can get moving on early next year?
Yes. So all we want to do is just finish all of the components up in October and then start moving heavily forward with design and concepts. When I'll be working with Andy Wicker for input from DNR.
I don't know how long it takes to build a boat ramp, but I'd like to make it a goal to be able to have that boat ramp ready by summer of 2024.
Why don't we just set a target date, Mr. Brazel?
Is that possible? Could we set a target date of June 1st, 2024?
We can certainly attempt. I don't want to commit to something with permitting and things like that. One would think it would be feasible. It just depends on the design.
You are so good at what you do. I know we can do it.
I think that sounds good on the 24th.
You know I've been pushing for it. I'm teasing you a little bit. But
what was that date, Mr. Brazel?
June 1st, 2024. I'd love to see it. I'd love to see that boat ramp open up.
It's expected to be done. Okay?
They need it.
It's going to be done.
It's needed.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions for administrator? Right quickly, Mr. Administrator, are y'all still waiting on the FOIA request?
Yes, sir. One of the individuals, the main respondent from the Battlefield Trust, has fallen ill. And so that will I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it adds about a week to the response, but we've had solid.
We should get some information by maybe the 10th.
Both FOIAs have been acknowledged. FOIA provides a statutory timeframe for a response, but and the clock is ticking on that. I've had contact with Battlefield Trust, and again, it's prior to the illness issue, but I was assured that they were going to try and gather the documents as quickly as they could.
Thank you. Legal briefing.
The only legal briefing, and this is just a matter of as an FYI to council, you'll recall that the Mount Pisgah Community Center base lease was before you. It had to skip this meeting due to the public hearing timing. It'll be back on the agenda October 10th. Just an FYI on that. No other briefing.
All right. And
no executive session?
There's no executive sessions called, Mr. Attorney. Okay, I ask for a motion to adjourn.
Motion adjourned, Mr. Vice Chair.
Is there a second?
Second.
Tucker made the motion.
Second.
Mr. Brazel did the second. Any discussion?
Thank you for your work, as always. You move these meetings like nobody's business.
Well, thank you, Mr. Schubert. I got a loving wife who's dying for me to get home. No, that's not true. All in favor of adjournment, raise your hand. Let the record show that it is unanimous. Thank you, gentlemen.